Take a look at that map. A lot of states have bills in their state legislatures, sure, but less than half of the country has signed something called the Crown Act, into law. But Minnesota might change that. The Crown Act is going to update the Minnesota Human Rights Act to emphasize that discrimination based on someone's hair is explicitly considered racial discrimination. The Minnesota House has passed this 3 times now, if you feel like you've heard this before. But the Senate has never brought it up for a vote. Now, with Democrats in control and more diverse makeup of lawmakers, the Senate is set to finally vote on the Crown Act in Minnesota tomorrow for the very first time. And it would basically add a layer of protection against getting in trouble at work because of your hair. And this isn't just about the workplace. As Kaya explains, this also impacts our kids.
Hi, Jana. Children's Minnesota actually reached out to us, telling us the hospital is taking a stance in support of the Crown Act. Here's why. Almost 40% of kids who come to Children's Minnesota are kids of color.
And they have a variety of different hairstyles.
Chief Equity and Inclusion Officer James Burrows says a couple of years ago, the hospital changed an outdated recommendation on patient hair care during surgery.
If your braids weren't taken out, we said, okay, we possibly had to cut them out. We thought that was the right thing to do, but when we found out later, the braids didn't get in the way of proper surgery. It was just the thing we had been doing. So we studied it, we talked to patients and families, we went out and got the right products, and now we're able to accommodate and make sure they're included in the way that we deliver surgeries.
Children's is not just looking inward at its own policies, but at state law, as Minnesota considers the Crown Act.
Crown stands for creating a respectful and open world for natural hair.
The House passed it a couple of weeks ago.
The purpose of the bill is to allow more people to show up as their authentic selves in school or in the workplace without fear of repercussion because of their hair.
Critics have said it's not necessary, as current law already protects against racial discrimination.
We know that this is already covered, but I think today we are looking at this a little bit differently.
Thursday, the Senate will decide for the first time, and Burrows says Children's is in support.
Doing this research before we decided to support the bill, we saw some research that 50% of moms around the 5-year mark would experience discrimination from their daughters about their hairstyle. Yeah. And that's sad. For the first time ever in Minnesota, you have 3 black women who are now in the Senate. Now is the right time for it.
They're not alone. Children's is one of 50 members in the Minnesota Business Coalition for Racial Equity.
General Mills, Target, U.S. Bank.
Which also wants the Crown Act passed.
That is valuable in the workplace, and it's valuable when children are growing up. We are standing at the door of a really historic moment, and Minnesota has the opportunity to lead in the nation.
It's about the culture you want to set with people.
Also, for the first time, the Minnesota Senate president is black. President Bobby Joe Champion is pushing for the Crown Act, as well as a bill that would make Juneteenth a state holiday. The vote on both is tomorrow morning at 11. Jana?
Wow, both of those are tomorrow, Kaya.
Yeah, it's going to be a big day at the Capitol.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for keeping us up to date on that story. So important.